Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. For those that have been playing Overwatch, you may have recognised an increase in MEI's pick rate. I certainly have. She's in a good portion of my games now and she isn't a completely trash pick. But this is no coincidence. We sat down with number one MEI in the world currently, Circci, to talk about what exactly is going on with MEI and why she's about to get a whole lot better with recent changes. You can find all the Circci stuff in the description below, but let's get started. So it's the first time that you've been on the channel, Searcy, so a brief introduction to you, your SR and stuff, and why should people listen to you when it comes to talking about MEI?
Hey, I'm Circci. I'm a former console player. I played on Xbox up until Season 6. On Xbox, I peaked at 4610, and I hit rank 4 as my highest rank on the ladder. Here on PC, my first season playing was Season 8. I took Season 7 to level up, and my first season on PC, I hit 4438. And I've been 44 or 4500 every season since then. And this season I found great success playing MEI, and my current SR is 4710. I'm rank 1 world.
And this is always predominantly playing MEI?
Yes, this is predominantly playing MEI. Sometimes I do play D.Va or I fail to off tank depending on the situation. But MEI is the hero that I found the most success with. Last season I put a lot of time into her. Back on Xbox, I played MEI every season up until Season 6 when I started to get into off-tank. When I swapped to PC, I started playing off-tank. I was playing D.Va a lot, but as the MEI buffs came through, and as the meta shifted, I felt like MEI became more viable, and I've been playing her more this season than ever.
That kind of goes on nicely to the whole idea of, I've personally been seeing a lot more MEIs in my game, and I've heard that other people have said the same sort of thing. Is that just an anecdotal experience, or do you feel that MEI is actually becoming much more popular in a very similar style to how Doomfist is at the same time?
Definitely. I definitely think MEI is becoming much stronger, and the way the meta is shifting, I think she's definitely more viable. For example, there have been 3 MEI mains to hit top 10 in EU this season. That's normally not the case. Usually you see more of Tracers, Genjis, and Doomfist up in the top 10, but I definitely know a lot of people who have been climbing as MEI this season.
So why is that? Why, just on the face of it, has MEI been played a lot more? She got buffed fairly recently with no damage fall off on her right click, but other than that, she hasn't really changed all that much, so can you sort of explain why now MEI's been played a lot more?
Yeah, so similarly to how Sombra got changed, and in the beginning people were thinking, these changes are kind of infinite stealth, it's not that great. Like, same with MEI. I feel like in the beginning the buffs came through and they really weren't used as efficiently as they could have, and now as people play more and more MEI and they figure out how to really play her better, I feel like now she's starting to rise up. Similarly to how Sombra took a little bit to kind of kick off. And also the meta shift. Doomfist and Sombra are really strong in the meta, but also Goats. Goats is extremely strong right now, and MEI is, in my opinion, the best counter to Goats. So anytime that I see the enemy team running Goats, I would recommend running what I like to call moats, which is you substitute either your Brig for a MEI, so run the 3 tanks, Moira, Lucio, MEI, or you can run Ryan, Zarya, Brig, MEI, Lucio, Ana, and I feel like that's also a really solid counter as well. So almost like a mirror matchup, but you have the CC that MEI provides, and you don't really need as much healing. You can drop the Brig and pull MEI because MEI has really good self-sustain, and she also has incredible fight control. With her wall and the isolation that provides, you can really control and dictate the pace of the fight, which is what Goats really plays off of, is being fast and just going with that speed boost right into the enemy team. So MEI can really slow that down and really counter Goats extremely hard. As well as Doomfist. Any comps with Doomfist, I find that the more that I play MEI, the better I am at predicting where a Doomfist is going to land. So oftentimes I'll be able to use my wall when a Doomfist is using his Seismic Slam and save a teammate. Or if I see he's going to punch, I can jump in front of a teammate at Nice Block and that will save the teammate from getting one shot. So MEI does provide a lot of utility that a lot of players are realizing now in the meta can be really useful.
So how much of a gimmick would that be, really? Because it seems to work in like any tier of rank, even going all the way up to GM, as you said. It's not as if Goat's comp is really used. Is there a reason why you think that like pros aren't really using this? Do you feel that they're missing a trick by not playing MEI into these strategies? Like, kind of what's your opinion on that, I suppose? Because it does make sense that MEI would be strong against Goats, but then again, we haven't really seen it used an awful lot.
Well, I actually believe that MEI is going to be used a lot more in the pro scene. She is somewhat of a niche pick. There are situations where there are better picks, but I definitely think pros are going to start using her more. It's just a matter of time of actually seeing her, because I've been seeing in my games pros playing MEI, and I think they might be trying to practice her outside of scrims and stuff like that. But we won't really know until we start seeing some more action on that scene. But I definitely think MEI, aside from just being a straight up counter to Goats, I think she can work well in any comp because of the CC that she provides and the map control. Her freeze is incredibly strong. You can use that. It works on any hero in the game. There's nothing that can really stop a freeze outside of a Zarya bubble. And usually Zarya's, once their bubble is down, you can really take advantage of that to freeze whoever you want.
For sure. I did want to ask, as we sort of said that the pick rate of MEI has been steadily increasing, what kind of hero changes, other than the ones that she had herself, have really paved the way for MEI to be a much stronger pick, would you say? Like, what led to this? Because it wasn't just the fact that she now has no fall off on her right click. Something else must have happened for MEI to be used a lot more, other than just, the form of Goat's comp.
Yeah, I actually think buffs and nerfs to other heroes have contributed to MEI's rise. I actually think with the current patch that we're on, with Pharah's nerf or buff, whatever you want to call it, I think that'll actually be an indirect buff to MEI. Because normally as MEI, Pharah will be your biggest counter. Pharah's, Widows, anything that plays kind of far away from you will be your biggest counters. And the less in the meta those are, how Sombra, Doomfist were kind of in the meta, and Widow, Double Sniper kind of fell out. Double Sniper was really strong against MEI, because as MEI, you really want to capitalize off of your tank play and their tank play. So if you're able to freeze their tanks and move and make big plays on their front line, then you're going to win that fight, that team fight. But if you have a Widow Hanzo that's outside of your range, that you kind of forces you to play at different angles, and you can't really capitalize on their tank's positioning as much, then that's when MEI feels a little bit more weak. So definitely during Double Sniper meta, it was hard to play MEI, because she's kind of, even though she's a smaller hero, she is kind of easy to hit. So even if people hit body shots, it would force out a nice block, or it's just the always lingering threat of sniper gonna hit you. So you don't want to frontline too hard. But now that double snipers are kind of not in the meta as much, I feel like that contributed to MEI's playtime going up, and I think it's going to go up even more now that Pharah doesn't do as much splash damage, because oftentimes before I would find myself either having to ice block early because there was a Pharah shooting at my tanks, and I would be positioned close to my tanks, and I would just take damage inevitably, or I would take knockback from the Pharah, and that would mess up my wall or me freezing somebody. So I think all these buffs or nerfs to other heroes have indirectly buffed MEI.
You mentioned something before we started this. You came from Xbox, and the perception of playing MEI there wasn't as bad. You came to PC, it was going to be worse. When it comes to attitudes towards people playing MEI, especially at the highest tier, is it negative? Is it positive to people? Over time, have people got much more respectable about you picking MEI a lot of the time, instead of people seeing it as a throw pick?
Oh yeah, definitely. When I first came over from Xbox, I wanted to play MEI, and I would pick MEI, and people would automatically, before I even did anything, before the game even started, just, can we not have a MEI? I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I'll just play D.Va. So the problem of the attitude towards kind of off meta picks. I feel like that's definitely gotten a lot better. Like, even from my own perspective, I might see another MEI player or a Symmetric player or something like that, and I'm not going to instantly just disqualify them like, oh, this isn't going to work out, because people have become a lot more adaptive. And so not just has MEI gotten better, but I feel like people who play MEI or people who are trying to learn MEI are getting better at adapting to certain situations. So in general, I don't think now if you picked MEI on attack Hanamura or attack, what usually MEI is better on defense. Each hero can perform their role really well if you play their role. If you try to play the hero for some other purpose, or you're trying to play like a DPS Ana, people will flame you, because you're not fulfilling the role of your hero. But if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as MEI, which is having a lot of crowd control and a big presence on the front line, people will respect that and people will recognize that and see you as a great player.
So finally, I guess just to go over everything in this video, where do you feel MEI's direction is going, and what changes and aspects to the game do you think MEI, if she becomes more popular, is going to affect? Because not a lot of people play her, but I'm sure people are really interested in knowing how her as a hero can affect the whole meta and state of the game.
I definitely think she's going to be a little bit more than a niche pick like she was. I think we're going to see some pro play with MEI, especially with all the changes that are coming up. I definitely think we're going to see some more play, and I would definitely recommend anyone who's interested in playing MEI to practice her a lot. She might seem like an easy hero because you might think there's not that much mechanical. It's not as mechanically demanding because you can just freeze somebody and headshot, right? And that's kind of a misinterpretation of the hero, because what makes a great MEI player, in my opinion, really excel is their game sense. So their understanding of the game and what they need to do to make themselves viable and to make it work out. So I definitely recommend more people to play her, because the more you play MEI, the more you'll understand, okay, she can do this in this situation. Her wall is extremely good against Reinhardt and Zarya, but you can also adapt to play MEI into dive, right? Dive is kind of the harder thing to play MEI into, but you can still wall off a Winston Diva in certain situations. And you don't always need to be at a choke to wall somebody off. So the more people play her, the more you'll realize, okay, you can do this and this and this, and she'll be better. So I think and I've seen a lot of MEIs in my comp games. I don't know if more people are trying to play her because they also kind of suspect that she's going to be better, or because, maybe they've seen more MEIs on the leaderboard and they're like, okay, I'll give it a try. But I definitely think she's probably going to be played up there. Maybe not as much as your standard DPS like Genjis and Tracers, but she'll definitely be up there.
And finally, where can people find more of you playing this hero on Twitch and other places, I suppose?
If anybody wants to catch my stream, I do stream on twitch.tv/Searcy. My Twitter is also Circi, Circci. And I usually try to stream every weeknight around 7 to midnight.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. Do let us know what you think of all of this stuff that we've gone over in the comments below. I do find Searcy on all of his social platforms in the description below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, take care. We'll see you then.